Hi and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking study method. But first up, I am pretty much very neurospicy, which I've already made a video about that. Go watch that if you want to. And two, I was homeschooled for the entirety of middle school and high school. So, a little bit different. I'm going to be talking how I studied when I was homeschooled. Because to be honest, when I went to school, I barely studied at all because I didn't need to. Because I already heard everything and my voice, I'm sorry. So we're talking homeschooling. These are things that you could use during your exam periods or whenever you just need to get studying because, I don't know, a teacher was absent and you have to do it on your own now. Whatever, it doesn't matter. This is how I did it. Couple of tips and all that. First step, plan. Especially when you are homeschooled and you're doing most of it on your own, like me, like what I did. Plan the living shit out of it. But that's maybe a neurodivergent thing. I didn't make my planning really strict. I mostly just set deadlines for myself. For me, it worked. I did not procrastinate that. But that did make it easier to be a little softer on myself on the days that I just didn't have the energy to study, that I could just leave it. I definitely have my favorite planner. I'm currently on number 3 of that specific planner. These are the Masha planners. They're a Dutch creator who makes these. You can definitely tell my aesthetic by the ones that I chose. This is the current one that I'm using. Don't know if they sell it anymore. I know for these two for a fact they don't sell them anymore. They are very specific. But what I like about them is, first of all, they're really pretty. You have, wait, but let me grab my recent one because that one is the most recent layout. You get a little matching notebook, which is fun. You get stickers and stuff. Contact page, obviously. And you have months. But these months aren't actually dated. It's literally just rasters of little spaces. So what I did is I did it per exam most of the time. But I'll show you that later. And then you have weekly spreads like this. Again, not numbered. The only thing that it says here are the days of the week, and then you have a whole thing for notes. So you can skip months and stuff without it being a problem. I love these. There's a little note page in the back, and then you get stickers for the month. You get stickers for to do, to buy, stuff like that. Aesthetically pleasing as shit. Love these. So let's talk how I plan stuff. The way homeschooling works in Belgium is, for high school, middle school, whatever, you go per grade per exam. So a grade in Belgium are 2 years combined. So first, second, third and fourth, fifth and sixth year, they're all combined into one exam per those 2 years. What I did is I did my first and second year, so my first grade, and I skipped second, so year 3 and 4 I skipped, and I did 5 and 6 in one, So what you're doing is you're actually learning things that you usually learn over a span of 2 years. I learned per subject. I did not do more than 3 exams a month. I couldn't do that. I said about a month per subject. Those are very personal things. You gotta figure that out for yourself. Anyway, the way I planned is, for example, this is my exam for my history exam. What I did is I planned it from what pages I was going to do, but I was pretty loose about it. If by the end of the week I done all the pages I said I was going to do, I'm good. So I do that, and then I would plan out a lot of weeks where I would just be making my summary and typing it out and stuff. But again, that's on that. And then I tended to count a week where I didn't plan anything, where it was just me doing things like reading it aloud and reading it and reading it. Because if I studied too much the last week before an exam, I would get scared. And depending on the exam, I take more weeks. For example, for my Dutch exam, I only took 4 weeks to do it. And then for my math exam, it took 7 weeks, where there was 9 weeks actually. There was one exam in the middle of it. But like, depending on the subject, I would count more weeks because of like difficulty and stuff. So I did that per exam, and then I did it per week. This one I think is from 2020 something. Anyway, I wrote down what subject I was gonna do, if I had anywhere that I had to go, like a doctor appointment, or wow, my writing was pretty then. So like that, and I would plan what videos I was filming, stuff like that. And then I had in the back on one of the notes pages, I made a thing for all the exams I had to do where I wrote down my grade, so that I had a quick view of what I've already done, which subjects I had to retake, stuff like that. So that what it made it fun to plan is because these planners are so pretty and I love them. It's not a big deal if, for example, you skip the summer or you skip a week because you take a week off, stuff like that. It doesn't matter within this planner, which I do love. As you can tell, I used these two completely, and I'm on my third one right now, and I used them for like 2 years each because of the fact that I skipped months and weeks and stuff. So that's how I plan. How I studied is a different thing. What I did is the fact that when you're homeschooling, you don't get taught anything. You get a list of things you have to know or be able to do, and then like figure it out yourself. So that's what I did. I figured it out myself. For some, we did get some books and like syllabuses and stuff to make it, for example, for math, because it was an online one that was really great and had like practice exams and stuff. But for most things, I actually did not use syllabuses. I actually just looked at the list of the things I had to know, and I went to the internet and I looked it up and I read about it and I wrote it down. Pen and paper. So I was looking at my laptop, looking and typing, looking it up, and I was writing it down, already trying to make it a little structured. This is not my final summary. After I looked everything up and I found everything, I can take my written notes and I make them into a typed out summary in a layout that I liked. Looking up also means finding other people's summaries and looking in those of what they learned and how their exams went, and all that jazz. Yeah, that's looking up. That's the first thing. Second, I type it aloud. Once that's all done, which it takes a couple of days, I printed it out and I went, okay, and I started highlighting things. Highlighting does not mean highlighting every single word. It means color coding, putting things together. It means making it easier on yourself, like putting a date with a specific thing that happened in the same color and making it really easy. My summaries are barely ever full sentences. They're usually this little pointy arrow, my goodness, little arrow, and then this. That's what worked best for me, or with like learning words and stuff. For example, for French. For English, I did not do shit, actually. Just went and did that exam and I was fine. Which, what the fuck. I'm not to brag, but like, it was easy. For French, was hard as fuck. I did get tutored for French because it wasn't working. After tutoring went great. What I did to learn my words is one column in Dutch words, one column in French words, putting a paper on the side, writing that shit down. The Thing is, with the exams I used to do, they were on the computer, so I also used a lot of like Quizlet and all that stuff because I needed to be able to type them. I didn't need to write them. If you have written exams, please write your shit down, especially if you know they are looking at the way things are written. You have to get it in that muscle. You have to be able to see it visually. When you're not sure how to write a word, write it both ways. You think you're gonna be like could be options. You'll see which one is right if you've written it enough. Most of the times I wrote either in these type of things, and I like even here, lots of things I would like little arrows and stuff. And then I highlighted everything I did, stuff like that. Or I just use those bigger notepads. You can like rip out the pages off. That's that. That's the practical side. Also a thing is this. A lot of people tell you to put it in a different room. I personally didn't like that. That was more distracting to me because I was consistently thinking, what if something happened? It's probably because I have anxiety. Let's be honest. So if that's the case for you, just put it next to you. Put it screen down. Put it on a focus mode where you only get text from, I don't know, your parents, your sister, the important people in your life, and you don't get notifications of like Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff, because those are the distracting notifications. If I were to turn off my phone completely, that would be a problem, because my parents would need to be able to reach me, especially if I'm home alone, in case something happens. So that just depends on what your personal preferences. I like studying with music. Again, real important is to study with music you know to heart, okay? There was a lot of Taylor in my playlists. There was a lot of Olivia in my playlist. Those are songs I love. Those are songs I could sing blindly without thinking about it. Was I singing half the time? Absolutely. It helped me focus. Put white noise on if that helps you. I cannot, for the life of me, sit without any noise, like white noise or music or a TV show. Sometimes there isn't even like TV shows playing in the background. Just because I have to have that sound, so that I wasn't focusing on every single sound in the house and stressing about it. Again, probably anxiety. So that's that. Find your own way. It'll take a long time. It's fine if it takes a long time. Figure it out yourself. Figure what helps you focus, what doesn't help you focus, what is distracting to you, stuff like that. And then the part of, how the fuck did I put myself behind a desk every single day and study? First of all, I usually study for like 1, max 3 hours a day. Depending on how easy I got into my focus and how exhausted I was. For me, that was enough. It might not be enough for you. For me, it was. First step, a good study space. Make it not just a study space where you're not consistently distracted, but make it something fun. This whole room, check out the vlogs if you want to see it. There are cutesy things everywhere. There's my bookcases, there's Lego. But my desk is right in front of a window, so I can see the nice weather, I can see the birds, I can see the trees. Even when you live in the city, you can see the birds, okay? And I sat there. My desk is pretty small, so that I don't make it as messy. I have 2 tables. Like, I have one that's actually my studying desk and my working desk, and then one that's more crafty and stuff. That one, the craft one, is a little bit bigger. For studying, I do not like having a really big space to work on because it gets messy. And getting a messy space is gonna make your head messy, or the space gets messy because of the fact that your head is messy, which is fine. Find a way to do it. Find a way to have that. Finding the joy in studying is so important, especially when you're getting homeschooled. I loved studying when I was getting homeschooled. Hate studying in school, but when I was getting homeschooled, I could do it at my pace, which is necessary for me. And I had the control over it. I controlled what I did, how much I did per thing, all that jazz. You know? So what else helped me find it? Obviously, those cute little planners helped. Something else that made me incredibly happy is something I got for Christmas, which is this. And I'm missing one, I'm sorry. These are Stabilo Boss markers. Do you need this many colors? No, you don't. But I liked it because that meant what the fuck? That meant that I could make it all aesthetic and look cute and all that jazz. So this brought me joy. This is a lot, I know. Obviously, when I'm leaving the house, I don't bring this. I bring these smaller ones, and I still have all the like pastel colors because that's something I love. A little thing that I actually didn't expect to use as much is this. It's a gray highlighter. Why did I use it a lot? Because I highlighted stuff that wasn't peak importance that I would highlight like in yellow, or probably not that, or like something else. But this helped to highlight stuff that I needed to remember but weren't peak importance. Because it's not as bright, but it's still highlighted. You know? So that's that. My take on taking breaks is, for a neurodivergent person who gets into hyperfocuses sometimes, taking breaks doesn't help. I didn't like taking breaks because it took me completely out of the hyperfocus, and getting back in it is a nightmare. So what I usually did is, I started studying. I planned to study for an hour. After that hour, if I was not in a hyperfocus, I would take a little bit of a break, go eat something, whatever. I'd try again for half an hour. Still not in a hyperfocus, I quit for that. I start with that 1 hour. Am I in a hyperfocus after that 1 hour? I just kept studying from like 8:30 to in the morning. I'm a morning person, yeah, to like 11 in the morning. Over that span of 3 hours, I just kept going without taking a break. Maybe I beat or rubbed some or something. That's fine. If that works better for you, do it that way. As long as you're getting enough nutrition in your body afterwards, you're fine. I prepped breakfasts so I could maybe like take it with me to go study or something. But find your own pace and space. Create your own space. Find your own pace. Find your own joys in studying. Which sounds so incredibly stupid and annoying. And I do not mean that every single day I was excited to study, because I wasn't. That's building some self-discipline here and there. You have to go through it. And you have to do it. Otherwise you will panic or something. So that's really important, to find the joy in it. That's probably my biggest tip, is find a way to find joy in studying. Even though it's not the most fun thing always. Find little things. Little things can be this. Little things can be using cute washi tapes. Little things can be using a cute pen. Making your background in your laptop fun. Having a nice space with like a pink keyboard. Stuff like that are all things to enjoy. And that helps. That's my biggest tip, really. Find your own pace and space. If you want tips, let me know in the comments. I'll help you out. Or at least I'll try to help you out. And don't put too much pressure on yourself. I tend to go for, if I have 50%, I have 50% and I'll pass the exam. It's fine. My average was like 51, 52. Some were better, some were obviously worse, and I had to retake them. So, yeah, be a little softer on yourself. Be nice to yourself when you're studying, and when you get those results back, I know it's hard. I still find it hard myself. You're allowed to cry about it. And if you need help, ask for help. If it's hard to plan, ask for your parents or your sister or a teacher to help plan. If that's what's necessary, that is fine. At the end of the day, you'll get there. Maybe the first and the second time you need help planning, afterwards you can do it yourself, for example. It's fine. So yeah, that's it for today. Good luck back to school. Good luck if you're starting a new journey of homeschooling or whatever. Good luck with studying. Anyway, hopefully I'll see you next time. Love you. Bye!